Hello, my name is Kenneth Lee Canter, Kenneth the Kind of Heart, or the Dragon King. You probably wonder how I come up with that. Well, it all started 4 years ago. But this trafficking crap that I'm going through right now has been going on for 17 years. The duration of the time that I've been out here in California. So, it all started a week after I met Mary. I met Mary one day after Thanksgiving 4 years ago. And a week later, we had a date and I was supposed to go down to her house. And I was sitting with my friend and it looked like a child cast in shadow kneeling in his closet. And he lives in Wilmington, so, never shuts his front door, So a child running in and hiding for one reason or another wouldn't be that far-fetched of an idea. So I called her up, canceled the date, and told her that I was going to stay with my friend and figure out what was going on in the closet. And I started trying to coax the child out, by telling them that they didn't have nothing to be afraid of, things of that sort. And then all of a sudden there was something green sliding down his forehead. So I followed the slime up. It wasn't slime at all. It was a finger and it was attached to an arm. It reached out and took hold of me. I felt like I was flipped inside out. I mean, literally flipped inside out. I had lost, all memory of anything. I felt just totally oblivious to everything around me. And then it started trickling back in. Then he spoke to me. He said the most beautiful things I've ever heard anyone say about another individual, let alone me. I've had tears of joy before. I have one tear of joy drop from my eye when my oldest daughter was born. So I know what a tear of joy feels like. When he started talking to me, it was a flood of tears coming down my face, and I was never happier in my life. And I just kept saying, Lord, 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 Lord. Wilmington is the UFO hotspot on the planet. I know this because I know Earl Anderson, lead investigator for MUFON. I sent him some pictures that are on my Instagram of another dimension, faces coming through the wall of the bedroom in which I was sitting in. He got more interested in me, which at the time kind of freaked me out, but I've made more contact with him since then. The alien that touched me, he calls his ambassadors. They're my tutors, my teachers. They teach me all kinds of stuff. Knowledge is not withheld from me. It's something that is encouraged to learn, as much as possible. A lot of things that I have been shown one time or another, have been through my YouTube. If you don't believe that another worldly being could control your YouTube to teach you, have you ever read the book Battlefield Earth? How they taught primitive man to run the machinery, making him watch videos on the headset. Sounds like YouTube to me, does it not? So, with that being said, they've been teaching me a lot for the past few years. My biblical knowledge is through the roof. I am from the Bible Belt, but I've never used my Bible for anything more than a lap ornament, or just something to open up sit in my lap while I was sitting there in church, listening to one preacher, another man, on and on. His interpretation of what he just read. Let me give you some interpretations of the story of Christ, which is not his last name. It's a position of power in which he held. He was squired like a knight to become the King of Kings. He was a Christ in training to become a Pharaoh. Don't blame me. The Hebrew text. When Joseph and Mary entered Babylon, here, I'll quote it for you. As we entered Babylon, I allowed the Pharaoh to believe that my wife was my sister, so he would not kill me and take her as his own. And after he cursed his house, he sent us away with camels and gold. Now, how do you think the Pharaoh cursed his house with Joseph's wife Mary? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. It's a sin. He was tricked, but it doesn't matter. Now from there, does anyone know how Joseph and Mary died? I just told you. If the Pharaoh would have been willing to kill Joseph and Mary, she must have been a pretty hot piece of tail. And wouldn't somebody else would have done that as well? And then wouldn't she have took on her husband's murderer's last name? The virgin birth was not introduced until 350 years after the crucifixion. If anything, Mary was a Mary Magdalene, meaning a child of God, normally meaning incest, because they don't know how she got pregnant. Everyone knew that wasn't Joseph's child. They could look at him and tell that. So to save face, it was a child of God, which the Pharaohs were considered gods anyway. Jesus' end, when the Roman soldiers stabbed him with the spear of destiny. He didn't kill him out of spite or anger or none of that shit. He killed him because he didn't want to see his friend suffer for 3 days and get picked apart by buzzards and other things just to die of dehydration and whatever. They said it takes about 3 days on the cross to dehydrate. So, but anyway, he bled him out. Stabbed him in the liver, bled him out. So his friend didn't have to suffer slowly. Now, since he's been talking to me, he's let me know that the Greeks had it right more than less. That's what he said. And he said the reason why when you pray to God and you don't get an answer, it's because you didn't say the God's name. You have to ask for a specific God and then pray. But make sure that you pray exactly what you want. Because trust me on this from personal experience, if you give a half-assed prayer, you're going to get a half-assed answer. And it'll break your heart. So, don't slack. Be very descriptive. Like you're talking to a genie. You know what I mean? Very, very descriptive about what you want. Otherwise, you'll get a half-assed answer. With that being said, I can speak to any and all of them. And no, I'm not crazy or delusional. I know this for a fact because I had I had the idea for my world school, and then a week later, I seen the prophecies, and he jumped into my head and he goes, I showed it to you like that, so you will stop questioning if this is real. Do you want to know what he sounded like? Do you know the little voice in the back of your head that tells you to go to the left instead of right? And if you don't listen, you always regret it? That's him. That's them. You know it's not you talking to you. That's what the voice of God sounds like. That chirping that tells you to go left. Better listen. Jesus Holloway, hallowed be thy name. Jesus, he said, is more towards the original pronunciation. At first told me that, the Roman soldier was not, he did not kill him out of anger or spite, he killed him out of love. Give him a quick release, whatever. He said, but the Roman soldier did not get the same courtesy. He took his place on the cross for giving him early release and a death without suffering. He had to suffer the same fate. That's not in your history books. That was from Jesus himself. Then he asked me, he goes, why does everyone want to remember me? On the worst day of my life, when I had so many great days to be remembered for. Someone said she died for our sins. He goes, that's a lie. That's a Jewish belief. If that was true, why would there still be judgment to come? They didn't buy that, did they? I asked the Father of all creation when he picked me, why did you let this happen to me? Why did my friend die at the age of 12? Why is this, I had a friend commit suicide at the age of 12. And the Father of all creation just stopped me dead in my tracks. He goes, would you blame the inventor of the Model T for the driver's error? And I'm like, no, of course not. He goes, so why are you blaming me? He goes, the road of life has always been there, so has the destination. I built the car, you're driving it. How you conduct your affairs along the way is how you will be judged in the end. I am the son of Anubis. Anubis is one of the 4 direct sons of God. Anubis is the only God of resurrection. Anubis is the protector of the dead. Anubis is your judge at Judgment Day. You want to know the reason why he weighs your heart against the feather of truth? Because your heart has more receptors than your brain. Meaning, your memory and real thoughts, feelings, stuff like that come from your heart. Your brain backs up the heart, not the other way around. So that's why Anubis weighs your heart. Plus the fact that HU in human lives in your heart. It's been proven human bodies put off a small amount of electricity. No one ever asked, when did man become human? What's the HU stand for? What it is when man met the sparkly ones, the ones he confused as angels, and they found that they could go into man and have experience of sensations of love, hate, hunger, all this stuff. That made him human. That's who you really are. That's where your creativity, your sexuality, your individuality, all of it comes from. That's the HU. Think of it kind of like a parasite that lives in your heart. But you don't want to get rid of this one. That's what you really are. Supreme being of pure energy and light. That's what all the Tibetan Buddhist monks are doing, where the whole classes disappear and stuff like that. That's what you really are. These bodies don't really mean that much. Do you want to know why your children are your future? Because essentially their great-great-grandchildren will be you. Don't believe me? I have two examples for you. The Dalai Lama and Anne Frank reincarnated on YouTube. Check it out. Those are the only two examples I'm going to give you to prove for a fact that reincarnation does exist. The reason why your children are your future, and you're supposed to make them better people than what you are, is so when you're recycled, you have an easy life with lots of knowledge and wealth. From what I understand, I've got a lot of money coming in here soon. It's all been on the back burner because of what's been going on. There's been influences keeping me away from my financial independence. So, with that being said, with my world schools, I am going to start out with every orphan on the planet. That means any of these children that are involved with this stuff, with sex slavery and whatnot, that are not going to want to go back home for one reason or another. I've dealt with sexual abuse with, children, young girls, stuff, all my life. I know what the repercussions are from what a pedophile will tell you is just another form of love, and it is not. It's a perversion for them, you know what I mean? And all it does is destroy the child. The child has no interest in what they're doing whatsoever. You know what I mean? Doesn't want to be messed with. So, I'm going to take all the orphans of the world first in my world school. And then all the other children can follow suit. There will be adult work classes. That way, you can learn what we're learning if you like. What will be the itinerary? Before you can start school, you have to have a certificate of proper etiquette and manners achieved. Meaning you have to go to a prep class, like for preschool, and learn how to be respectful in a group, learn how to use your utensils, learn how to be polite and everything else before you can enter school. Now for my orphans and stuff like that, I will take care of the bill. But for the rest of them that come from at least one side or one family home, that is going to be a requirement before they enter my school. That has to be taken care of by you. That's the only thing that I'm asking from you. Then the first year of school is going to be mixed martial arts taught to all students throughout the duration through the school. Now, basic reading, writing, arithmetic is a must. But we're going to do so much other things, like nature science and different different ways to survive by different cultures' methods. Hands-on stuff. I mean, they need to learn it. A word to the wise. You probably need to look into solar panels with a like a Tesla battery in your home, garage, whatever, because the electrical grid that we are on has pretty much been there since Benjamin Franklin. So the closer we get to the sun, the more prone we are to be hit with solar flares that'll knock down the whole grid. If you're not independently running electricity, you're going to be in the dark. You're not going to be able to heat your home or, cook any food. You're not going to be able to do anything. I mean, even heat the hot water in a hot water tank. Nothing will work without electricity. So, I mean, you need to go independent. This is for Elon Musk, and he will know what I'm talking about. You were told when you first went up into orbit that you're not supposed to be up there, that your Pharaoh had not given you permission to be up there. Am I not correct? With that being said, what made you think that they had a right to go to Mars when you know for a fact Mars has life on it already? Because the residents of Mars have come to me and told me that the people that are going up there are bad. They're burning villages and stealing women and children and stuff. The children that they took with them, they do horrible things to. So I told them to reap what they have sown. They are not representatives of me or the rest of you. No one asked us anything. You have to learn your history or you're doomed to repeat it. So pulling some Christopher Columbus conquistador shit is definitely not going to work. And there's not going to be a lot on my clock. You can take this any way you like it. But the 500 million you have projected to go to Mars, I need that list. Because it does seem to be a fact that it was just going to be a handful of elite that would make it to Mars, while the rest of us reset with the planet. And someone told these individuals out here in California, from the highest of authorities, that they would never be prosecuted or have to stand trial against the crimes they had committed against their neighbors and communities. I think those same individuals probably be on that list. It is prophesied that Mars will attack after a small compartment on the left side of the Sphinx ear opens up. Now, you know why Mars attacks, huh? Because we're up there acting like a bunch of damn idiots. I'm trying to buffer that out before it happens. What the job of his chosen champion entails. When he chose me as champion, I'm like, why do you call me champion for? I hate sports. So why would you refer to me as a champion in any regard? I want to become a two-cup world champion with 141 trophies and the majority of the tournament in jail, I still achieved this. World champion of all time. At 1,153 games for 2 World Cups and 141 trophies. In my entire life. No training whatsoever. I just did it. That's pretty coincidental, wouldn't you say? A world champion of all time that says he talks to an entity you refer to as God, goes by the Father of all creation. The Viking text says that and God will choose a champion, and the champion will kill the wolf after he kills God. Got to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. There's a whole story goes with that, but it's no big deal. It's something you guys want to know about. But it also states that the champion is not the savior of man, that it's his daughter, Lilith, Adam's first wife reborn, that will be the salvation of man. My 10-year-old's name is Lily, the one that's been missing for quite some time. I'm not going to stop till I get her back, her or the other ones. And like I said, just because you see them somewhere out and about doesn't mean that they are not trafficked. Just because they have social media pages going, they answer their cell phone, and they go to work, doesn't mean that they are not trafficked. Do you have that girlfriend that told you she was a one-man kind of girl, and then after you got with her, man, you found out she was a little bit more promiscuous than what she led on to be? No, she's not. She's being told what to do. She's being told to start arguments with you, all kinds of things. They think it's hilarious. Especially when you don't have no clue what's going on. Because the first thing that every man assumes is, oh, you're a whore. And, who are they to say that when most of them are? Right? They're not whores. Those female sheriffs out here in California, what harm would it be to take your slave with you to murder, so you could partake whenever you like? And hell, they know that there is nowhere left to turn. So who are they going to call? And even if they didn't make any noise, they would just throw them in a mental hospital. So no one will listen to them. I became a U.S. Marshal-elect 12/26/2020. Out at the exit 99 sign in the town of Banning, county of Riverside. At about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 men met up with me out by the exit 99 sign, and where they tried to hand me a sheriff's badge. Like, looks like we got a new sheriff in town. And then the big guy chirped in and said, tell Marshal-elect or nothing. So I pushed back the badge and said, Marshal-elect or nothing. And the guy was like, all right, Marshal. But we ain't got a Marshal badge. I started looking through the room and I was like, this says here you don't have to have one. You know what I mean? It has to be known. Documented shit. So, I mean, they told me that would be taken care of. They asked me what name I wanted to go by. I told them Kaleo. I was thinking about my family and their safety. Just to come to the understanding here recently that they already had one of my daughters, or two of my daughters, and they were already starting to close in on a few more key members of my family. I asked the Father of all creation, why did you choose me? Why did I grow up so poor? Oh, God, I mean, I had what I needed. I never had what I wanted. All my clothes were always hand-me-downs and stuff like that. I was a middle child out of four. But I'm an only child of my mother and father. He told me, I keep my future kings of kings in destitute. That way they know every level of suffering within their kingdom. That's what he said to me. That was so poetic. And if that was a delusion, that was the most informative delusion I've ever heard of. Like I said, they made you believe that the voice of God in your head was a sickness you have not to listen to it. They tried to remove them from your lives. Now, the Father of all creation is not happy with the institution of the church. He doesn't have a problem with the padres, the fathers, the preachers, because they're spreading the word of Jesus. He told me when he chose me champion to read the book of Daniel and to pay attention to the end of Revelations after the planet's reset. He told me to tell you to follow the path of Jesus to the best of your ability. Follow the 10 Commandments. Plus I added 2 more. No rape and no children whatsoever in anything harmful. Follow those rules, you'll be fine. Hell, follow those rules, and I don't give a shit what you do. You know what I mean? After that, get it how you live. As long as ain't nobody screaming for help on your side of the fence and you ain't doing nothing bad to his innocent, I don't care what you do. You're supposed to live your life to the fullest doing what you love. Keep it in perspective, you know what I mean, and just go do it. If everyone elects me their U.S. Marshal-elect, which I've done had the job for 3 years, and I've not had any respect from peers, no tools in my office, no nothing, not a day's pay. But I still done my job. I'm still doing my job. Not for me, because I thought my family might be able to slide out of this, just to find out that they didn't. But I've been out there fighting for all of yours. My family has lost their virtues for yours. There's so many things that I need to go over. Things to come, just things like, you'll probably think that I'm crazy. But I just got a clean bill of health done from the conservative bull crap after the 2 years in jail that I did after calling 911 for the retaining wall missing in my domestic partner's triplex in Laguna Woods Village. I have posted the photos with the dowel rod going through the ceiling so you can clearly see there is no retaining wall. Plus, 2 weeks before I called 911, I had a home inspection done for $900 there in Laguna Woods. So there is a public record of the home inspection, which also states by an inspector, no retaining wall, which you can't resell a home if it doesn't have one, for biohazards, fires, and pervert hazards. My wife, my domestic partner, is still in that home. She's been told what to do by other individuals. She won't admit to any of it, but I know what fear looks like in her eyes, and not for me, but of somebody else, in which I don't see. Up in Wilmington, when they tried to say, there goes the traffickers there, I was like, hey, yeah, who is it? It's cartel. And I was like, no, it's not. That's not cartel. That's a narc or an undercover detective. They're the only ones that can have blacked out windshields. Nobody else can have a blacked out windshield because it's a safety risk to the officer. Even if you were cartel, you would get stopped in a heartbeat for that blacked out windshield. So I knew for a fact. Those were cops. They had a thing out here with, don't say nothing, don't say nothing. They'll send a death squad after you. A minivan full of ninjas and sub-Uzis. I started horse laughing so bad it was unreal. That or they would come by and rake their fingers across your dusty trunk hood or something. You've been marked. That shit works for kids. No one else. If there was a minivan full of ninjas, it was their pajamas, and their machine guns were water guns, I guarantee it. Well, I heard that when I was out in Riverside. Like I said, there's such enough stuff to go over, and I know for a fact that you people are probably going to think that I'm a little eccentric, I'm this, I'm that. No. I'm here to do a job. I know what the job is. I don't particularly know exactly how I'm going to go about doing it, you know what I mean, but I do know that it's all in or nothing. So I want to, if the world decides to make me their UN Marshal of the Allied Nations, this is the plan. All armies will become the People's Army of planet Earth. How about that? All residents will have a home. We'll do it like house swap kind of deal. And for those starting a family and don't need to be home, there'll be one available. For those who are starting to get the empty nest syndrome, well, I mean, you can trade your home for one that's more accommodating to you. Everybody will be given a card, like a credit card. It will have so much credits on it at first to get home items, anything you need. Car, gas for a car, anything. Any drug from any dispensary. Like I said, I would legalize drugs worldwide. Or at least through the Allied Nations. All of them. And keep them at the same potency and consistency throughout the duration. Also legalize prostitution. Like I said, Holland, Oregon, and a few other places have proven that crime essentially just disappears. On top of, using hypnosis to get a full confession out of anyone that is truly guilty. There's no more tying up those court systems, because they won't exist. You won't need them. Crime will not exist. You won't have to worry about it. What I will do with the People's Army of planet Earth, any place that we have had good luck in retrieving gold from, will turn into a massive land moving operation. All spots, El Dorado, Australia, Alaska, California, just anywhere and everywhere that has ever had gold found in abundance, we're going to start our efforts for ourselves. That's what we were designed for. But with the 9/11 controlled drop, if you've ever done demolition work, you can literally watch as the targets go off. Boom, 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 boom. Now, something you never heard before. At the bottom of the World Trade Center buildings, there was 14 tractor trailer loads of gold that disappeared. The only reason they even knew it disappeared was the 14th tractor and trailer got stuck in the tunnel on the way out. One truck out of 14 was recovered. That was it. Never to be seen again. Or gold deposits, reserves, whatever you want to call them. There's no gold in Fort Knox. There's no gold anywhere else. We made our last shipment. 2012 did happen. There was a solar flare headed right for us called an Earth Killer. It's in Science Magazine. You can read up on the article. But an anomaly, NASA does not know what was, hit it and pushed it 3 days off course, passing by the planet without any harm. We get another shot at this. All of you have been lied to. You've never been shown the proper way to live. That's what I am supposed to learn myself and achieve. And then pass on my teaching, or learn everything that I've learned to you and the children. He told me to think of all of you as my children. Good, bad, better, and different. You know what I mean? So, the things that are coming up are not going to be easy for me. Everybody keeps asking me, what do I have planned? Well, kidnapping is automatic 25 years. That's the law now. Trafficking is automatic, the death sentence. But everybody cannot be held to the same standard, because not all were doing it willingly, and they were forced to. So with that being said, it would be wrong to punish them even more for something they never wanted to do to begin with. You think that'd be hard to figure out? Not under hypnosis. I have 3 standards. Were you doing it freely of will? Did you profit greatly from it? And you were not raised from a swaddling age or toddler to become a pedophile trafficker. If you said yes to those 3, you've got some issues that you're going to have to contend with. The ones that were raised in it, that were taught to be that way, you can't hold them to the same standard, because it would be wrong. to punish someone even more for being twisted in what they are. Even a beat dog will return to its master because that is all it knows of love. Your children are exactly the same way. It's what you show them. How you treat them is how they will act to the people around them. They're a product of their environment. They can't be held to the same standard. I was thinking about, using the hypnosis for the ones that have been in it their whole life. Wipe their memory of it. Instill a sensation of overwhelming embarrassment anytime that they get naked in front of another individual. God, I don't want any deep-seated sensations coming to the top. I think that would be good. And if they have any thoughts, any impure thoughts of a child whatsoever, they'll become deathly ill. Deathly. They'll start bombing and shitting on themselves, everything else. They won't know it's in there. But we will. It's the only way that I know to be fair. Because I know for a fact that, there's a lot of them that's been involved in this, that were raised in it, that the people are not going to care. If they were raised in it, they're still going to want retribution. But the Father Father Allcrest told me, the punishment has to fit the crime. I said, this is not going to make me happy whatsoever. But it is going to be carried out. He gave me a job to do, and I plan on doing it to the fullest. I've said this time and time again. I need to have an audience with David Adair, Mr. Nuclear Fusion himself. I'm wanting to construct 7 motherships in orbit. With that being said, the engines that I would need for these ships would have to be powerful enough to set down these ships the size of Manhattan. My world schools. The metropolis already built after the planet's reset. I wish I had someone to ask me questions, because this would be a lot easier if I was being interviewed instead of me trying to think of everything that I need to say. That most of you probably are going to call bullshit on, but I don't lie. I don't bullshit. I don't sugarcoat. Don't have time for it. Alright? There's a lot of people that don't like me because I don't lie. I won't, I won't lie for anybody else neither. Somebody asks me a question, I'll tell you the truthful answer. I'm a straight shooter. It's just how I am. I've always been that way. I know what a lie is, but I've never understood why anyone would do it. It's stupid. You can't get nowhere with misdirection and detours, lies. At the beginning of COVID, outside of the morgues, there are stacks of bodies everywhere. Another one. I was driving around. And when I by the morgue, there wasn't no bodies stacked anywhere. But, to hear the news broadcast talk about it, they were accounted for, but not recognized. So where'd those bodies go? Did death row convictions rise at the beginning of COVID in third world countries? Why, you might ask, would they do that for? Because if they had an order from a donor recipient for a body part needed, they would just put them under and take the body part that they need and let them bleed out. They didn't need the rest of it. The numbers don't lie. And if they didn't do that, they put you in jail on false charges. And then hit you with a mental incompetence, if not all around conservator. And all conservator is another locked facility you cannot leave. But this place is even worse. If you don't take the medication, if you don't go to the classes, you will never leave. I met a guy that had been in conservator for 10 years. He'd been bounced from one hospital to the next. And the only thing that they had done for him was got him $500 in SSI. And they was waiting for a bed to open up at a board and care. That's not what conservator does. They were supposed to put him on his full disability, SSDI, which is over $2,000, and get him a low-income house forever. They're not doing what they say they're doing. They're kidnapping the community. Oh, okay, let me repeat. Who are the only people that can pick up someone off the street and nobody ever asked? No reason why. Police and mental health professionals, There was a show on Dr. Phil. There was a segment on Dr. Phil. A couple had lost their daughter. She looked mixed, she looked adopted from what I could see of the parents, but the dad was really upset. And her mom looked like she had done fucking accepted fate. And they showed the final moments of the little girl walking down the sidewalk. And they're like, these are the last moments seen of this little girl. And right before she goes out of frame, there's the ass end of a black and white police cruiser. And I was like, there's the fucking answer right there. Right in front of me. Well, hey, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be that hard to figure out who was driving that beat. On that day, she disappeared. They do keep a record of where they are. I kept being told by all of them, what are you going to do about it? I heard that shit so many times. And every time it made me more pissed off. Because I knew my civil liberties were being stripped from me. That's when I implemented the diplomatic immunity. By saying, my country and countrymen have abandoned me. And I can not only prove this for 2 years, but I can prove it for the last decade, if not my entire life. You can go to chess.com's Instagram page and look up posts from me. And you can see where I was being pursued all over the place. Plus on my Instagram and here on YouTube. I've been keeping a document about everything going on for a long time. I had to make y'all believe me and listen. I won the chess tournament just to get the credibility I needed for people to listen to me and take me seriously. I don't want to be put on the back burner. Nobody stands for their own or themselves or nothing. Outside of one of them child sex slavery men, one of the children go, "Why are you the only dad out there? Where are my parents?" I was so heartbroken I didn't know what to say. When I've heard more than once someone try to tell me, "You can always have more kids." Yeah, see, that's not a real parent. Because a real parent wouldn't be able to live with themselves, knowing that they let one go that they didn't want to, and the one that they just had that they never felt that void. No. That was a trafficker trying to talk me out of, fighting for my kid. Like, "You're only one man. What can one man do?" Well, one man can do a lot. Alexander, Achilles, Martin Luther King. Who you want to talk about? Genghis Khan. One man. One man can do a lot. I've been pursued for 17 years, documented. I've heard traffickers say, "I am the most untrafficable man on the planet." With a pocket knife, a cell phone, and a strobing flashlight. And I didn't even know I'd been pursued until 4 years ago. I really hope this reaches some people and wakes you up. All levels of your government have been corrupted, all the way down to your public servants, your bobbies, whatever you want to call them. Don't take them for face value. And if you have any doubts whatsoever, like I said, under hypnosis, they cannot lie. They can even tell you what they were thinking while they were performing an act. Thoroughly. Under hypnosis. Oh, I didn't quite get into the credits on the cards that you get for all the miscellaneous items you would need throughout your house, and inside and out, that kind of deal. The only trick with those is you have to make sure you don't run out of credits. There will be a job placement center in the center of the subdivisions in the area in which you live, which can send you out for day labor or a full-time job or a career. That way, if you want to better your situation, you still can. You wouldn't be bound to anything. You get paid at the end of every day. You slide your card in, you slide your card out. When you slide out, it automatically puts your pay for the day on your card. When you work when you want to work. But if your card runs out, that's on you. Just like in caveman days. Hunters, gatherers, whichever you may be, if you brought nothing to the table that night, you didn't get a plate that night. And that's exactly how I'm going to run this. Everyone will have a job. It takes all kinds. Like I said, everyone knows where I am. Everyone knows everything about me. I'm waiting on you. I can't go no further until I have the same community support, funding, backing, all of it, that the ones that have taken advantage of you still have, from what I see. Another one's still in your families. I'm the last lawman in this country, a real one. But you could also say I'm the last patriot. well, since I am a descendant from the last signature on the Declaration of Independence. Matthew Thompson lost his leg in a battle to a cannonball. That's why he was the last signature. Didn't want to fight the crowd. Like I said, everyone knows where I am. I would love to be interviewed by someone that would fire back questions at me nonstop. If you could get someone from Disney World to contact me in Orlando, Florida, like the new owner, Walt's great-great-grandson, the one that looks like Captain Lou Albino. I would really like to have an audience with him as well. So, until that time, I'm going to load this up since it's been an hour. I hope it's a little bit more informative than what my Instagram stuff has been. I know it's kind of choppy. Blessed be all of thee, all for one and one for all. Hope everybody has a good night. If ever a day that I even make it through all the way where I'm just, in the same mood. So, my big red beard that I'm supposed to have out of the prophecies. Kenneth Canter at ymail.com. There's a profile picture. You can see my mighty red beard. Everyone have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.